What is up? Welcome to episode 2 of Etsy Jam. In this episode, we have a special guest. Carey joins us from the Modern Bazaar. Jen creates custom solid gold jewelry, was featured in Country Living, and has some powerful stories to share about her customers. We also chat about what she does to promote her shop on Etsy, how she uses Marmalead to find keywords, and how she competes against shops who create cheaper knockoff versions of her jewelry. Hey, welcome everyone to the second episode of Etsy Jam. I'm Gordon. Here with me is Kevs, and in his remote Marmalead office, Richie Peplin. Joining us today, we have a guest on the show, Jen Carey, whose Etsy shop is the Modern Bazaar, and so we're going to be chatting with her in a little bit, hearing about her story, how she got started, and how she uses Marmalead to do things. First, before we jump into stuff too much, I'd like to make the announcement that we have released those worksheets that we talked about last week through an email. So if you're already a Marmalead user and you haven't unsubscribed from our emails, you will have received an email this morning with a link to where you can get those worksheets that has the instructions in them too for how to use them. And if you're not a Marmalead user yet, you can log into the website, or if you didn't receive the email and you unsubscribe from our mailing list, you can log into the Marmalead website, and as soon as you get onto that homepage there, you'll see a link to videos describing what the worksheets are, and a link to the worksheets themselves so you can download them and start using them. Basically, what we're trying to do with those worksheets is help you guys measure when you're making changes to your listings, whether or not those changes when you're adding new keywords are actually having a positive impact or not. And so to do that, we broke it down into like this 3-level process. And you're going to want to attack this one level at a time so that if you're not having success at level 1, you don't waste your time going all the way to level 3. You can go back and pick another keyword and start measuring right from the beginning without having to spend a lot of time doing it. So with us here today, our guest is Jen Carey, whose Etsy shop is the Modern Bazaar. So you guys feel free to go check that out and see what she's got going on there. But thank you for joining us today, Jen. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I love you guys. So like we always talk about, my husband and I, we sit up at night and play with Marmalead and figure out what tags are working and everything. So, I mean, we've had great success with you guys. I don't know what I would do without you, honestly. It would be a lot of hours wasted researching and things like that, which I've done in the past. So it's great to have this tool.
Great. I'm glad.
It's awesome.
I'm glad you're enjoying it.
So appreciate it.
Yeah. So
I do. I love it.
How'd you get started on Etsy?
Well, I started, if you look back at my jewelry, it was so bad, but just like beading and selling repurposed, or I would go to estate sales and buy buttons and make things out of it and things like that. And then it's interesting because when I started on Etsy, I thought, I'm just going to, I would find like a shop that was really successful, and I'd be like, I'm going to emulate that, and I'm going to, do what they do, and I'm going to make just as much money as they, are. And that wasn't working. It was like the whole bridal thing, and that really wasn't working. And I don't know. I think once I found my authentic, self and designing, I kind of started to take off. So it was really good. We've only been selling on Etsy for about 2.5 years now. But we had success early on, really. So we were but it's honestly, my husband and I both do. I mean, we work, 20 hours a day. So we work a lot and very hard, but we love it. I mean, we are able to help people through our designs and through our jewelry. And we do coordinate jewelry and also handwriting jewelry. So, it's great to connect with customers and to be there for their special, moments and hear their stories. And so we love it.
Cool. So is this the shop you started on Etsy with, or have you changed shops over the years?
No, this is the only shop I've had. It's the only one I've had. So I can't imagine managing two, honestly. the one, I can't even keep up with the conversations on the one. So, I don't know how anyone goes with 2 or 3, but anyway. So, yeah, I don't even get that, but we've had some good success on it. And I think, everyone, or not everyone, but, people ask me all the time, like what it is that we've done that they can do to, when they're starting off with their stores. And it's just working. It's just working hard and being diligent with it. And great customer service and photography. And, it's just, you have to work your butt off. And if you do, then it's, it can be great. I mean, we support our family on it. My husband and I do this full time, and we have some help, here and there.
That's awesome. So did you craft and sell stuff like at craft fairs or any other places online before you had joined Etsy then? Or this was your just jump right in?
No. Yeah. I was a chemical security expert before this. So there you have it. I know. So, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I quit my day job last week. I mean, last year, last March, I think. And
that's exciting.
Yeah, so it's been a year that I've been doing this full time. I love it. So, and hopefully we'll be able to expand into wholesale and do some other fun things, in the upcoming years. So, we're fortunate. I mean, I think riding the wave kind of too with Etsy, and just with changes and a positive attitude. And, I think, we're not ones to sit on the forum and, complain about things. We just kind of, if something's changing, we kind of, just change with it. So it's been great. I mean, I love it. I love what I do, and I love our customers, and I love being on Etsy. I mean, I think they provide us with a really great opportunity. So, we have no complaints whatsoever. So none whatsoever. And it's even gotten better since we started using y'all's tool. So, I mean, it's crazy the success we've had with it. I mean, I have everything documented. I mean, it's like every time I go in and I change my tags using Marmalead, every time, which was even last night, I can get specific and tell y'all a story. Every time I'm like amazed. It's like magic. It's like crazy. There's a definite science to this, I mean, there's a definite science to it. And if you do what you're supposed to do, and I can tell y'all what I do. I mean, it's not, it's a science, but it's not brain surgery. I mean, it's not hard. But I mean, like last night, well, I'll tell you, I guess like last November, my husband and I sat up one night and we changed two listings. We changed a leather bracelet and a handwriting bracelet. And within a week or two, those were our top two sellers, and they just went crazy. I mean, they went like, it went crazy. We sold, I'm going to say, probably almost 300 of those bracelets in December alone. Like it went, it was just crazy. And what's weird about that is that leather bracelet has been like it's a men's leather bracelet. It's been like our number one seller for a while. And then I had to stupidly go in and change something. I don't know what I changed because I didn't write it down. I didn't have my worksheets, but I changed something. It was probably personalized with an, it's like something, whatever. But I didn't even realize it had dropped because Mother's Day sales were coming in, and I just didn't realize it. And I went back and I looked at my stats, and I saw that bracelet had fallen off. Like went from number one to like not even showing up within like the time period that I changed that tag. So I went back and changed it again, and it came back right back up again. So it's like, I mean, if I changed every single listing and use Marmalead to change every listing, I wouldn't be able to hire enough people to help us. It'd go too fast. Really. I'm kidding.
How do you decide which listings to attack and which to do research for and kind of target for updating your keywords?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good question, and that's like the hardest thing I have to figure out. But for example, I don't even know if this is right or wrong, but like last night, I went on and I looked at personalized ring just for the heck of it, and I know that's a very broad keyword, right? But I was kind of like, well, I wonder if I could rank for that. Uh-huh. I'm going to go for the, gusto here. But then I noticed that the number one and the number two listing under personalized ring was a coordinate ring, which we sell. Uh-huh. Like that's our number. We sell coordinate rings. So I was like, well, I mean, that says something right there because we're not even ranked on personalized ring. We don't rank in the top at all in the top 500, right? But our competition, they sell an $18 ring and it's cheaper than ours. It's plated, so it's not what we sell, but we sell gold field jewelry. So anyway, but I'm like, well, I want to rank too, high like that on personalized ring. I'm a coordinate ring. So I go in and I opened up their listing and I copied it. I mean, honestly, pretty much I copied it. I mean, I looked at their tags. I created So I took one of my listings.
Nice.
I mean, you can see like my homework that I did. I took all of my tags. These are my tags, and then these are the tags of the like my competing one right here. And so I figured out which tags I was gonna keep and which ones I wanted to add. So I took that listing, I copied the listing, and then I changed the title. I pretty much copied their title except for maybe 3 words, and I changed their tag. I changed my tags to be the same tags as theirs, and so I went from a brand new listing, and automatically I created a new listing. It was ranking on page 3, like last night. Yeah, it was a brand new listing. It was like magic, I swear. So, I mean, I haven't checked it today, but I mean, I think that should just be great for everybody because, I mean, you can take a brand new listing and you can figure out where you want to be. I mean, I don't really usually try and rank, for personalized ring. I mean, I definitely find, I use that the thing that compares all keywords. I use that all the time, just to see. I don't really like to do it when there's a lot of competition. I like if I can find something I sell that has low competition and that people are talking about, then that's where I want to fall.
Those tags, and you had their list and your list side by side. How are you deciding which ones to keep that you were currently using, and then which ones to kind of scrap and maybe borrow some of theirs that they have? What was your process for that?
Well, I took out. Like the ones I took out were generic ones, like gold ring. I took that out. But I did notice actually that I think I was like what they had. I learned, this is how I learned. I mean, I'm like totally self-taught on all of this, by the way, like on Etsy, on jewelry making, on everything. So I do everything the hard way and have to like suffer through it all. But anyway, but what kills me on these is that it's the plural, like they had coordinates with an S and I had coordinates. That can make all the difference in the world, though, honestly. They also had like jewelry and rings, like just separate words. And then they had coordinates just by itself. And so I realized that I didn't have anything like that. I would have gold rings. So I thought maybe I should just separate that a little bit and I didn't put ring, but I did put coordinates just as a word. And I did put ring. I did put rings, and then I put stamped rings. So I took off things, gold band I took off, and wedding band I took off. And then I replaced it with coordinates with an S, and then just the plain coordinates, and then personalized jewelry. I didn't even have that on there, personalized jewelry. And that's the thing. I mean, I could have kicked myself in the butt. One day I had all these coordinate listings, and I didn't even have latitude and longitude listed. I was like, so stupid. Anyway, so but being able to compare it and like look at them all is so important to be able to figure out, because it's easy to forget something. I mean, really easy to forget something. But I think having these worksheets is going to be great because I'm going to be able to go in and really tweak everything. I'm not an organized person. I'm like one of those messy, creative people that I have no organization at all to my life. So, I mean, having something like this is going to, I feel, take what I'm doing, to, like I said, I'd never write anything down either. Having a worksheet like this, I think, is really going to help me.
And I mean, if you're using it and you have any comments or questions or feedback for us, would love to hear that too. And that goes the same for anyone else who's using these worksheets. Would love to hear your feedback on them and how they're working or not working for you even too. Now,
sure. Yeah. So far, so good.
Jen, you had mentioned, so when you went ahead and made these changes, it sounded like you said you created a new listing for this. So you kept your existing listing out there, right? And you created a new one to try.
I did, because I'm ranking them. Yeah. So I'm ranked that one. I took the highest ranking ring listing that I had, and I copied it because it's ranked number 4 right now. So I didn't want to mess with that one, And so, I'm finding too that Etsy won't put me on. They won't put more than one thing on page 1 or 2 or 3. So, like, I typically I'm like on one on page 1, one on page 2, and one on page 3. And they space them 50 apart, by the way, too. I've noticed that, exactly 50. It's weird, but they do that. So if I'm number 4, then I'm number 50. It's like really, or right around there, I guess, because I still have 3 in the top 100. So yeah, I'm scared to. I don't want to modify the one that's number 4. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. Is that something you do commonly when you're playing around with different keywords to kind of see if they're working with? It's a little bit like doing a little bit of A/B testing, right? Where you have 2 separate things running at the same time, and this way, if one of them's not performing, you can get rid of that. Is that something you commonly do, or does that get to be really crazy?
I have done that. I used to do that. Yeah, I used to do that in the past, and I used to even put like things in under wedding category versus jewelry, and I'd have the same exact listing, but listed multiple ways, I guess. And I still do. I mean, luckily for me, there's a lot of, on all my listings, I do things in all different metals. So it's like, I'm able to like naturally, like very easy. So the same bracelet I have in gold and silver and rose gold, so it's really easy to have those different, to test like that. So I've always tested like that. And it's very obvious the ones that do well and the ones that don't. I mean, on most of the time when I do that, it's either listed really, ranking high or not at all.
Are you used to?
So, and the other thing is I renew
like
all the time.
Or like every hour?
Y'all don't even know how much I renew.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Hourly.
For all of your listings or targeted ones?
I do. I know. Targeted ones. But yeah, I pay a lot of money every month for that. And I don't even know if that's actually, helping me or not. I really don't know. But I was told that early on, and I have it on an automatic renewer, and I stagger them, and I have like a whole kind of thing like that. But yeah, I renew a lot all day long.
We definitely know that renewing them helps.
Many listings.
I don't know if you need to be doing it as often as you are. That would be the only thing, right? So. If you use that worksheet, and in fact, you can modify it too and start tracking every so many hours and see when you might fall off of that first page. That'll give you a good sense of how frequently you might need to renew things on average, right? Because the competition is going to fluctuate. People will come in out of that space, and some days you might need to renew more frequently than others and stuff. But we definitely do know that renewing will give you a bump in SEO for whatever keywords you're currently targeting, right? So now,
Right.
Being fresh to Etsy and completely getting started from scratch and teaching yourself jewelry crafting completely too, that had to be kind of overwhelming. Where did you go for resources for all of that when you were getting started? How did you learn all that stuff?
Trial and error, honestly. Okay. I mean, trial and error. I mean, I really I read a lot, but I don't think that Handmadeology, obviously I would learn stuff from them. I learn stuff from you guys. I mean, I read things all the time. I do not go to the forums. Is the only thing I don't do on Etsy. And then I'm part of a design community, a jewelry designer community, Flourish and Thrive. So that obviously helps me a lot too as a jewelry designer, because they're great. And but as far as Etsy goes, I really think that I did this all trial and error, and just hard work, and just really studying things. I mean, before I even opened my shop, when I was going to copy the wedding one, that one wedding girls one, who were doing, I think, better than actually now, which is crazy. Definitely, I think we are. But I had books. I probably cut down 100 trees, like honestly, of just printing different things and studying it. And I would study, when, like how many sales they've gotten, how much, what they were saying, there's their descriptions or everything, their tags. I would just study the listings and study, try and emulate it. That's really what I was trying to do. I still do that. I mean, I still am always looking at my competition and I'm trying to figure out, well, what are they doing that is successful for them? And there's a fine line, because remember, I told you at the beginning, I was copying, I was just not being authentic with myself. And I was trying to design jewelry and copy people. And that, as much as I'm saying to look at other people's, listings and things like that, you still have to you have to be yourself. You have to be personable. And, you have to answer convos. Like, I mean, I'm on them all day long. I'm tied to them. I answer them 7 days a week, and, as quickly as I possibly can. And I help people, and it's customer service. And, and connecting with your customers. I mean, I think that's really important. I've learned the hard way. I've done a lot of things wrong, that's for sure, like very wrong. And one of them is to have someone help me with the Convos. That was, for me and my business, that was a bad decision because for a lot of reasons. And just, I guess, I wouldn't say we blew up, but we kind of did. I mean, we were in Country Living magazine too. So that was another reason why we got, lucky early on is, we got in the magazine. Yeah. Their gift guide for Christmas, the Christmas before. But anyway, so I mean, yeah, we've had some good. We haven't had a lot of press recently, but I'm cool with that. I'm trying to keep up with things right now. I'm trying to figure out how to do things the right way now that we can kind of take a breath. So that we can grow and expand. So that's kind of where we're at now. But yeah, it's really just studying up on things and talking to people. And, I've been fortunate that people will give me the answers. I think at first, I remember at first when I was very did not want to tell anybody my secrets, and then I just came one, I was like, I'm not going to tell anyone I renew. Well, I just told all y'all I renew all the time. I just figured, there's so much jewelry in the world. I mean, no one's going to just wear one jewelry designer's jewelry, and we can all I've been fortunate enough to be surrounded by people that are supportive of me, other jewelry designers and things. So I think the jewelry designing community is great. And, I think I have to kind of give back to, or just I'm here to help anybody. If they want to ever email me or call me or anything, I'll totally help them. I mean, I think what comes around goes around, and I hope Etsy stays around for a long time because our livelihood is on there, So I want everyone to do well. I want Etsy to do well. Our
experience with Etsy too. The community is just so strong. People are always willing to help each other and kind of, jump in, ask questions, answer questions. It's been a fantastic community to work with. We've got a couple of questions showing up in the chat here, so I might fire those at you too.
I agree.
Ed is curious what you're doing to promote your Etsy shop, if anything.
I use Pinterest a lot. And I guess I used to have an ad running on Facebook all last year I did. But I don't anymore. I don't right now. I'm not really doing much. I'm horrible at posting social media. I'm horrible at it. I'm trying to get better. But luckily we have a decent following on Facebook. So that's good. And then Pinterest, I use promoted pins a lot. I promoted quite a few pins. And I feel that's really been helpful for me, actually.
Okay.
So that's really where I spend my money.
Also in the chat, Kiki is wondering if you actively seek out press opportunities or, like with the example of that Country Living thing, did they just call you up or email you one day, or how did that happen?
I've never.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never actively search for anybody or no, I've never looked for anyone. We've been in InStyle magazine last Mother's Day, and that was just people pick us up or see our stuff on Etsy, and so no, I have not done any kind of even blog outreach. Again, it's I want to get things kind of situated internally before I do that, so that because every Christmas, the last two Christmases, we've really blown up. We have 1,000 orders in a 3-week period of time, which is I don't know how anyone can prepare for that. Honestly, I hate it though. I mean, y'all think I would love that. No, it's a nightmare. It's a total nightmare. I'm not even sure we are profitable that. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. It happened twice, and it's not happening the third time. I promise. It's horrible. So I don't want that to happen. Yeah, it's horrible. But I don't want that to happen with our business in general. So. So I'm kind of scared to do that until we're ready, really. So yeah, I've been lucky that a couple things here and there that people picked up on, just from searching on Etsy.
Ed is also wondering how you compete against cheap versions of your jewelry. So if people try to make knockoffs or anything like that.
That's a great question. Yeah, that's happening. That's happening to me this year, and it hasn't before. And And especially with our gold-filled rings, because my husband is a genius, and he like figured out a way of making gold-filled rings, which is really like people don't really do that all that much because of the material. Anyway, and it's hard to rose gold, especially hard to solder the rings and things like that. But he is really good at that, and we're competing against companies or those Etsy shops that have $18, cheap plated rings that they buy overseas or whatnot. Like the two number one listings for personalized rings are $18, coordinate rings, and ours, are not. I mean, they're gold filled. They're more than 100 times more gold. So what I've done recently is I've started to build value on all my listings. So I went back and I explain educating my customer, like, what is the difference? Because they don't know. In fact, most people, I never knew the difference. And I think most people, they think, plated is just better than, especially plated over sterling silver sounds better than, gold filled sometimes, I guess. I mean, they just don't know. And so I've gone in and all of our listings, our ring listings especially, I've gone in and I've said exactly what gold filled is, and our rings are not plated, they're not manufactured, they're made, fabricated by my husband and I. So that's helped. I mean, really, that's really helped to do that. In fact, we've been thanked a lot of the time, not a few times, for actually giving that information, explaining the difference, because obviously there's a difference between a $60 ring and an $80 ring. I mean, you buy, get what you pay for. So,
do they have to say that they're just plated and not solid then in their listings, or can they get away with kind of not saying that and then people don't necessarily know?
They say that they are gold plated over sterling silver, and they call it gold filled, but it's not. It's plated. It's plated over sterling. It's not. It has literally the thinnest amount of. I can't tell you how many times customers have shown me pictures. I have tons of pictures of their rings where just the gold comes off, and they don't. They're pissed. Obviously. So I mean, I know that they're here now, and they're gonna go one day. Or there's a place for them. Actually, there's a place for them. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I mean, some people can't afford a $60 ring. I mean. And so good. I'm glad they can get one from these people. That's fine. It's just, my prices probably don't reflect, I probably should charge more, honestly. Just so people really know why, ours are different, but maybe I will one day raise my prices. But I don't know. I think, they're going to, if their customers are buying things from them and they're happy, then great. And everyone's happy. If they're not, then they're not gonna be around. I just can't focus on that. I can't focus on them. I have to make sure that we differentiate ourselves from other people that are in our space, and just we're honest, ethical people, and we are just gonna tell people what we do and what I'm not going to go around being too ugly about them. I guess I kind of was a little bit ugly about them, but I don't really mean to be ugly. I mean, but I think if I focused on that too much, it would be bad for me to do that. So I just kind of try and stay positive and explain why we're different, and so that so it's obvious to our customers when they read our listings. And that's the only struggle, is that a lot of people don't read those listings, especially if they're on the Etsy app. I mean, I have a hard time on the Etsy app finding the descriptions of items when I'm searching.
It does.
So, yeah, it sucks. I hate it. They need the Etsy app and the emails, their whole messaging system is horrible. I miss so many messages all the time. And we get like 100 a day messages, and it's like hard for me to keep up with it all. If you open it and then it just disappears and you can't ever go back to it, and that's just a hard email system for me. So I hope one day they do change that. But that's a struggle if they're purchasing on the iPhone or on the mobile app, because they don't get the chance to go and read why you're different or anything. But they'll find out. I mean, I can't tell you how many rings I bought in the past that have, rubbed off, plated rings that have rubbed off. And so, if they want a better one, they'll look for one. If not, they won't, So it can kind of help your business, I think, too, in a way. I mean, it does us good getting coordinate rings out there because they're the first and second, one on personalized rings. And so, now people might seek it, whereas before they didn't even know to even look for one because they didn't know they existed, right? So that could actually help us. People start to search for coordinate rings now, and then they'll find us for sure on page 1, page 2, page 3, whereas if they were just searching personalized rings, they wouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
There's an upside to that too.
You had mentioned a while back that you don't go into the Etsy forums. There's a lot of people in there. There's a lot of discussions and activity. What made you steer away from the Etsy forums?
I think that it's easy to get caught up in all of the what's Etsy doing, and and I try not to just be a part of that, only because of course I'm trying to kind of figure out what's going on, but at the same time, it is nerve-wracking a little bit, like whenever they change anything. With the algorithm, but I guess I didn't want to jump on any kind of negative bandwagons, really. And just kept thinking if I work hard, then that will be good enough, So, yeah, I just personally, I don't have the time for it either. I don't have the time for it. So, there's been some times when I've asked my husband to go look. Can you look at the forums and see if anyone's talking about this? But it's kind of cheating, I guess.
It's a filter, like a little buffer.
But yeah, yeah. It's like, but I do try and stay away from it because, and I don't like the customer bashing, and I don't like to be bashed. I don't want to be bashed. So, I kind of try and stay under the radar a little bit like that. So yeah, I don't go on them. I can't tell you. I think I went on them in the beginning, but I haven't gone on them in over a year for sure. Maybe I should. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Richie, Kevs, did you guys have any questions for Jen?
Yeah.
Anything I'm missing?
Questions? Not sure on the question wise. I really like some of the things that you touched on there, such as pricing. So maybe I will ask some questions there. So when Ed asked about how you work with the cheap versions of your jewelry and kind of position yourself against that, can you talk a little bit about how you price your jewelry?
Sure. What I have a formula. So I take the cost of goods plus my labor, not including my labor, but any kind of labor that, like if we have people that come in and we have someone that helps us polish. We do everything in house. So in this room and in my garage, pretty much, and in my dining room, shipping apartments in my dining room. Yeah, I did that. The whole reason why I'm doing this in the first place is to be home with my kids. So I have got older kids. They're 13 now. So, but I want to be close to them. I want to pick them up from school every day. I want to be here for them. So that's exactly why I did this to start with. So, although we really need to move out of the house, like bad. In fact, our neighbors don't get very happy with us, especially around the holidays. But I just can't see moving outside the house. They're going to have to pull me to work every day. I don't know how that's going to work. But and my husband's like hot in the garage in the summer, I'm sure, because we have our whole shop up there. So anyway, but sometimes we have people. Mm-hmm. He has an air conditioning out there now, but it's probably not helpful. But we have people that come in and help us, help him and help me. So we put labor, like for stamping or engraving, on top of our cost of goods. And then we have multipliers to multiply it for our wholesale prices, and then multiply it for retail pricing. And that's why we're able to stay competitive, though, is because we do everything. I have my husband that does it with me. Without him, I couldn't do any of this. So luckily, I'd be beading still, and y'all don't want to see those earrings are really bad. So he, he's not in the room, but he definitely is 50% of this for sure. And thank God. So
that's great.
I remember when he gave me my first drill for Christmas one year. And I was like, this is ranking with the freaking vacuum cleaner. This is the worst gift I've ever received. What am I going to do with this? I'm like, what am I going to do with this? I mean, I had no idea. Anyway, now I have
love
like
it.
4. And like, yeah, now I have 4 of them. I really do. So anyway, I had no idea how to do any of that kind of stuff. So he was very helpful with that.
That's good. Yeah, never judge a gift right at first, right? Oh, I don't do that. Well, not yet. You don't.
Yeah, he was a little bit ahead of me, totally. But as far as pricing, it's like I do look at my competition, and again, I think this is another one of those things. I mean, you could sit there and go crazy over how you compare to everybody else, but again, I can't stress this enough. You have to just do your thing. You have to do your thing. If you do your thing, and you're confident in your thing, what you're putting out there, and what the reasoning, the reason why you do this, and if you can justify the money you're asking for, which I can, I have a formula, I absolutely can, then I think you'll do well. There's just so many people out there that, there's so many people that you can sell to. I think you have to also be really clear on who you're selling to. And that's changing for us. That's changing for us, actually. So when we started, this is my first, that's the first latitude, longitude bracelet I ever made. Look how beat up it is. I got it back. It's a customer's to work for like a long time, and give it back to me. I know, isn't that crazy? I had to give it. That's the first one I ever made, and then I had to replace it with the gold one for her. I was like, give me that one back so I can put it in Hall of Fame. But we started with a $28, bangle bracelet that, that was our number one thing, and now we really don't sell that anymore. It's not $28, it's $32, and then we've moved into, we had to figure out where we were going to sell, right? Because that is how we started selling, but I didn't really see that sustaining us for a long period of time, and that's not where our interest personally as designers lie. Is using brass. Like, my husband hates brass because it tarnishes, and it's really difficult when you're selling and helping people preserve their memories on something that's going to tarnish. That's like not cool in our minds, really. And so, it's like, that makes sense. So we're slowly but surely moving away from that. And our prices are increasing, and our clientele, our customers have changed a little bit, and that's okay. And so those are the kinds of things that we're just trying to really work out. And I think we're almost there. I mean, we're doing a good job of doing that. So, and that's a decision that we had to make, definitely. Do we want to continue to sell nickel, silver, and copper, and, brass, and push that, or offer that and in addition? And it just didn't make much sense. So we decided to differentiate ourselves from others that way. And our pricing.
That's good. It's so important to be in touch with your customers. So you said your customer base is changing. How would you tell other sellers to recognize when your customer base is changing and kind of get to know your customer base? Because, obviously that is a big factor in what you decide to sell and how you price and present your product.
Well, to be honest with you, the people that were buying the $28 bracelets were leaving negative reviews, and they were just not the people I was wanting to work with. I don't know how else to say that. It was very obvious. I mean, they were very young, and I'm not being whatever, but I wasn't getting, that really wasn't the age group I was targeting, if you will. We're targeting people in their 30s, girls in their 30s primarily, who have some of these experiences that they can put on bracelets and necklaces, like people that have, gotten married, had baby, bought a house, all different coordinates, and people that, have had a loss in their life. And that's a big part of what I do personally, is that my dad died 5 years ago, and I wore a charm with his name on it around my neck for about 2 years, and found such comfort in that. And so last year we decided to start making handwriting jewelry and putting actual handwriting on jewelry to allow someone to have. There's nothing more personal than handwriting. I mean, I remember my dad's handwriting. Mm-hmm. I can picture it in my head, and so just having something of his that says "I love you" on it, a bracelet, is great, and so I find myself, that's my why. That's why I do this. I love jewelry. Yeah. And I am a 4th generation jeweler, by the way. I mean, although I got my degree in architecture and was in chemical security, I fell back to the whole jewelry thing because my grandfather and great grandfather, and my dad was a dentist, but he made jewelry. I mean, because the same kind of tools and things like that. So, it's important to me to help other people that are going through this similar thing that I went through. So I find myself, I cry like every day. I mean, I really do cry every day. I hear the saddest stories ever, but knowing that we are helping these people, get through a tough time means that's like everything to us, everything to me, for sure. So, I have to stay in tune with that, y'all. I mean, I have to stay, if I stay in tune with that and realize it and live my truth like that, that's the reason I'm doing this. And if I keep that in the front of my mind, then things go well for us, and by that, I mean, I had a customer literally 3 days ago who was not very nice. She was not nice to me at all. And she was going crazy. And I kind of got into it with her a little bit, and I don't like to do that at all. But finally, I realized, finally, she told me actually that her mom had just passed. And so you have to realize that, a lot of the people that we're dealing with personalized jewelry, they're going through a hard time. They're either stressed because they're getting married, or they're sad because they lost someone. I mean, there's all these emotions that are going along with everything. So, it can get crazy. I mean, it can get very crazy, but if you stay focused and realize that people are going through things, and you have to be compassionate and obviously and helpful and things like that. So that's kind of the whole spin on our business. And I mean, my husband walks into here all the time and he's like, and I'm bawling, and he's like, oh, listen to this one tops it. I mean, there's just very sad stories, and these women get very fixated, and men, get fixated on these objects that they can kind of hold on to. And I'm so grateful that we can provide that for them, because I know how important that was. If you try to take that necklace off of me for the first 2 years, I would have gotten angry too. So, I mean, it was very important that I had that on. So I get it. And, I'm grateful that the first pair of earrings I ever sold was in my dad's ICU to a nurse, and his nurse in ICU. So, I mean, it's been an interesting journey, over the last 5 years for me personally, and growth. And I think, I'm grateful to be able to help people. I mean, I really am, truly, truly am. So we'll see how, it's going to be hard for us that's why I don't really know how to grow that. How do you grow that personalized part of your business that you have to, stay such in touch with each person. So, I'm grateful that we can, help people now. And so those are the clientele. When you go back to the clientele, I want to work with people that need some, that are having these life experiences that either happy or sad. I mean, honestly, getting married or, whatever they're doing. So, having babies and all kinds of, fun, exciting things too. But we want to be there for every event, in their life. And that's what's great about this. We've already had people come back, had their first baby and second baby, I think that's, it's neat to see all of those things too. So, that's why we made the conscious decision to move a little bit higher end. And we'd like to do we do solid gold, but we don't list anything that's solid gold yet. But
wow. Thank you for sharing all that. That is quite a story. Super powerful stuff. I love that you're that connected with the customer. And this is really, it seems so much more than just selling jewelry for you. It seems like really a mission to help others in a way that you found comfort, and you're comforting them with your stuff. And that's fantastic. To the people getting upset part, I heard someone say a couple weeks ago, they were talking about when people get upset with you, and they said, hurt people. And that kind of stuck with me. And it was like, yeah, whenever someone's upset, it's coming from somewhere. So if they're throwing stones at you, it's probably not something that you just did.
It almost always is not. I've learned that too. It almost always is not. And I mean, I've even helped people be like, you're not letting me help you. Like, you're just wanting to be mad and wanting to be angry because I'm trying to solve this problem and give you whatever but you're just, and I've had people, I mean, I probably have, I have like a note, like, thanks for not giving up on me, for someone that works at Google. I mean, it gets to be, honestly, it's like, it's just you get to be very personal with people, I mean, I'm sharing my story, they're sharing their story. I mean, it's like, and they want us to understand, and I want to understand always, like, what the meaning is behind the jewelry I'm making, because it helps me to make a better piece, for sure.
It's such a strong differentiator for you too. I mean, I still think that quality and caring and the type of things that you've exhibited in every word you've spoken on here is just so powerful and such a differentiator. So I have very high expectations for you guys. Thanks.
I hope so. I hope so. So we'll see. We love what we do. We live and breathe this, every day. So, and so luckily you've taken years off my life by being able to help us, just, save time. I mean, really, that's what this does for us. It saves time and it's fun. I mean, like I said, I know we're probably dorks for sitting around doing this, but it's really fun to like change something and figure out, and then like to see it like automatically, like, that's like so cool, because otherwise it's like a crapshoot, like, yeah, honestly, it is. So, I mean, there's other tools out there in the world that you can, look for keywords and do, but this, I mean, they don't even compare to this. I think what y'all have done is awesome. I mean, it's so user-friendly, it's so helpful, and, I'll toot your horn any day. That's for sure. It's great.
It is so great to hear from shops where it's working out really well. It's great. Makes us really happy because, that's one of the really cool things about the Etsy community also, is everyone has a really cool story. Everyone is doing this because they have a passion for it and they love it. And it's so much different than, when you're talking to, maybe someone when you're doing like a B2B sale, calling a business and someone's there as a day job. It's not their passion. You talk to them, what they want to do is, what you're doing. So it's really cool to empower people.
Yeah. I mean, and I had a really good job too. I mean, I worked really hard on for, 20 years of a career, to get to where I was. And it was a leap. It definitely was a leap of faith, but when it's right, it's right. When you'll know. I mean, honestly, I moonlighted like for a long time, and, I was lucky enough to work from home with my, the last 5 years anyway for my jobs, but so I was able to kind of do both at the same time. But, that was very fortunate for me. But, I think, I mean, if you just do it, look, I mean, I'm a firm believer that the difference between the people that succeed and the people that don't when owning it's just the people that do it. It's just a matter of actually doing it. It's not too hard to figure. I mean, really, I mean, it's the people that do it. So I say, go for it. I mean, you can always fall. The way I looked at it was you can always go back to work. I mean, I can get a job, and this is the hardest one I've ever had, by the way. It really is so hard. But I love that about it. It's very challenging, and changing, and even with like, e-commerce in general is just changes daily, I mean, changes daily. You have to stay up on it, and understand. So I do not have this figured out. That's for sure. I have some of it figured out, not all of it figured out. So, I mean, I'm learning constantly daily, I mean, like, heck, do you know how much money I've probably wasted on renewing? I mean, that's like a no. If that's true, then I've wasted a lot of money on that, and I need to change that. So I mean, there's things you learn every day, and that's what keeps me interested in it. It doesn't get boring, that's for sure.
We do have one more question in the chat here, which I'd love to throw your way and get your thoughts on this. Ed asks, how do you do SEO for very similar items without finding yourself competing against yourself? So using the same keywords on too many listings, you're going to be competing against yourself. How do you make sure that doesn't happen?
I'll compete against myself all day long, really. I mean, is there a problem with that? I don't know if there's a problem with that. Is there a problem with that? I mean, as far as like, I mean, well, they don't let you compete. Etsy doesn't let you compete with yourself because they only put one listing on each of the first page. You know what I mean? So they space them out. So it's really not.
I think.
Am I missing something on there? I don't think
just that how Etsy does the declumping. So your listings are really only going to show up one per page, right? So if you have, say, 12 listings that are all using the same keywords and your title and your tags for those are all going to be competing for the same searches by customers. And realistically, maybe only like 5 of those will get seen as people kind of drop off the deeper they go into the search result pages. So it sounds like that's not something you're super worried about, though.
No, I mean, unfortunately, it's like, well, I don't know. Fortunately, I mean, look, I don't know. I mean, I did not start designing like men's leather bracelets. I mean, I made them for Dan, my husband. And the ones that we posted are the ones I made him, and for his birthday or something. But then that turned to be our number one seller. You can never predict. Oh, and that's the other thing I love about Etsy. We call it the flavor of the week. I don't know if any of y'all have this happen to you, but it makes it impossible to do inventory management and to order supplies because honestly, and I can prove it, they put something out there in the search. Every week it's different. So, and every year it's different. Our first year we were a bracelet company. Last year we were a necklace company. And this year we were a ring company. Go figure. And then weekly, all of a sudden, I'll have all white leather bracelets orders all week long. And it will happen 1 week a year, and that's it. No more white leather bracelets for a year. I'm not kidding. Every week, it's a different flavor of the week, and it makes it so hard to stock supplies. But there's obviously something in their algorithm or something that they do that puts things out there like that. I mean, it's if I were smart and like organized, I could probably go back and look at all of our numbers and figure out, I know I could, what they were, promoting for us at that time, weekly. And I could probably find some sort of, y'all could probably use that data to do whatever y'all do. You have to know that's not my strength. This is not, that's why I love your tool, because I don't want to figure this stuff out. But I mean, there's something to that. I think that's really weird that they do that. And it's very obvious and very, I don't know why they do that. So anyway, but it's hard to predict. And I've had to give that up. It's hard to predict what your customers are going to like. It's hard to predict what Etsy is going to throw out there. And so that's one of those things you have to go with the flow on, for sure. You have to just, go with the flow and hope you have suppliers. Another thing I do is I do source on Etsy for almost everything but my gold, actually. I buy everything from other Etsy people. So, and I always have. And I like that. So, I like keeping it kind of in the community type of thing. So I know I could probably get it, for cheaper elsewhere, but I don't have the relationship with them and the same people I've been buying. I've been buying from the same people for years. So I like
cool.
that.
I think that's pretty
on
common
Etsy
too on Etsy. That's one of the nice things that helps keep the community so tight.
Yeah, I think so. I like it. If someone could sell me the gold for the same price I get it other ways, I'd be good too, but they don't. And it's expensive, so we'll have to source out. But yeah, I think, I just think you have to go with the flow. And so sometimes I'm like, why is that, listing on page 1, 2, or 3, when there's so many better, whatever. And I'm just grateful that they're on page 1, 2, and 3, I think. So I don't really look at anything else. I don't think I probably should, but I don't. Really, I really do think. My husband and I talk about this all the time. We're like, okay, we've seen such amazing results with just 5 listings that we've documented, right? Because we've done now 5. What if we did? I have 150 listings in my shop, and I could make a lot more. I don't even have time to list a whole bunch of new designs and stuff. But what if I did? What if I did go in and I did that on I optimized every single listing using Marmalead? Like I said, I'd have to have a staff of people hired to take over, things, and I'm not ready to do that yet. So, it's exciting for us because we always know, well, you know what, if we need money, we can just go in and we can just start, tweaking some listings. I feel like that. It's a very big relief to know, because we support our family on this, so it's a relief to know that we can do that. I mean, but it's funny. You should see every time I do this, like last night when I was doing this one listing, I was like, oh my God, running to my husband, look at this. Can you believe this? I mean, within 30 minutes, I'm on page 3, I mean, it's crazy. So, y'all have to use it. If you don't use it, like, you have to, I don't see how anybody could now. I mean, I had literally books, like stacks of 3-ring binders with this kind of a data in the beginning that, was unnecessary. So thank you guys so much, because it's helpful. Very, very helpful.
Thank you, Jenna. It's been fantastic having you on and talking to you today. I'm going to close out the recording here, but you're welcome to stay on and chat with us a little bit more. Really fantastic info. Your stories were great.
Thank you.
Your customer stories are fantastic too. Really powerful stuff. And just your sentiment of, if you want to go do something, go do it. Get out there and do it and try it, and you'll succeed. You got to put in the energy, and things will happen for you if you do that. So that was fantastic to hear.
Absolutely.
So thank you so much for joining us today. We'll see you guys next week on Etsy Jam.